So imagine this. A huge galactic conflict. You've got ruthless sorcerers, vengeful admirals, an entire species basically facing extinction. And it all somehow boils down to a game of cards and a really well-timed explosion.
It sounds wild, doesn't it? But that's what we're diving into today. A story where a gambler, a sentient manta ray, a pacifist robot, and these living starships, they all collide. It's this incredible tale of survival and just layers upon layers of deception.
Exactly. And our deep dive today, it's all based on this really rich excerpt from the novel Star Wars, Lando Calrissian and the Starcave of Thonboka.
Yeah, it's just packed with these unique characters, some frankly surprising biological ideas, and these really ingenious strategies, stuff that kind of redefines what it means to be alive or intelligent out there in the galaxy.
Right, so our mission today is to unpack this amazing story, pull out the surprising bits about life, intelligence, survival, out on the galactic fringe.
We'll dig into these complex motivations, the intricate deceptions, and how knowledge, or sometimes the lack of knowledge, can just change everything.
Okay, let's jump in. Where does this story pull us in first? Who kicks things off?
Well, it starts with Lahisu. He's a young adult Oswaft. And you got to picture this enormous manta ray, basically. Broad, streamlined, powerful wings.
Okay.
And these delicate, sort of tentacular ribbons hanging underneath. But the really unique thing, his body is perfectly glassy, totally transparent. Until he dies, then it changes.
Wow, transparent. And they live in a nebula.
Yeah, the Thonboka Nebula, they call it a cozy harbor, a haven of peace and plenty. Humans translated it as the Starcave.
A giant transparent manta ray living in a nebula called the Starcave.
Got it.
But Lahesu, he's not typical, is he? The source paints his species one way, but him another.
Exactly. Most Oswafts are described as fatally conservative, even excruciatingly boring. But Lahesu, he's really intelligent and, importantly, aggressively curious.
So he's the odd one out.
Totally. And it kind of highlights this theme, right? This drive of curiosity. For Lahisu, it nearly kills him, but it also ends up saving him. It makes you wonder if, comfort is really the path to evolution, or if maybe it takes some daring, some risk.
So his curiosity, which his own people might think is, demented, leads him outside the Thonboka, into empty space, the open sea.
Yeah. And that's basically a death sentence for an Oswaft. They feed constantly, see, and they have almost no way to store nutrients.
So he's just starving out there.
Slowly starving to death. But the text makes a point he'd rather die from curiosity than, quote, dying from boredom, which is quite a choice.
Definitely a unique reason for exploring. And it's out there, starving, that he bumps into someone unexpected.
He does. Lando Calrissian and his robot co-pilot, Vuffi Raa, they're also stuck mid-engine recalibration on the Millennium Falcon in this desert of space.
And first, they don't know what to make of each other.
Right. Total misunderstanding. Lahisu thinks the Falcon is some kind of creature like him. Lando and Vuffi Raa think Lahisu is just a weird ship.
How do they figure it out?
Well, Lahisu uses these telepathic picture messages. He shows images of himself starving, then thriving. And Vuffi Raa, with his electronic brain, he can actually interpret them.
That's fascinating. Interspecies communication via telepathic pictures.
And then Lando, gambler Lando, he actually shows the surprising generosity. Once they realize Lahisu is a living thing and starving.
What do?
They feed him. They give him the contents of the ship's recyclers, simple organic compounds, amino acids. Turns out it's almost made for its requirements.
Ship garbage saved his life.
Pretty much. And Vuffi Raa even rigs up this huge tank of recycler goo for Lahisu to take with him, so he won't starve again immediately.
Wow, okay. So Lahisu must be pretty grateful.
Immensely. He tells them they gave him life twice. And then he shows them this astonishing gift.
Which is
the Oswaft can fabricate precious gems. Opals, sapphires, flame gems, you name it, atom by atom, basically using the leftover chemicals from their food they don't need.
Seriously? They poop gemstones?
Well, yeah, kind of. He demonstrates it. It's this incredible biological process turning waste into something incredibly valuable, like nature's perfect recycler.
That makes you think, doesn't it? About resource management, even on a galactic scale. Okay, so Lahisu is saved, but Lando's got his own issues, right? He's not just cruising.
Oh, no. Lando's nursing a broken arm, black eye, broken toe from sporadic violent attacks on the Falcon.
By who?
His main problem is this guy, Rokur Gepta, a self-proclaimed sorcerer, wants to rule the galaxy, the usual. Lando apparently tripped over him twice, and now Gepta's obsessed. Lando sees it as this totally unrequited, entirely one-sided relationship. He just wants the guy to leave him alone.
Sounds like Lando. But there's more going on, isn't there? Something connected to Vuffi Raa.
Exactly. This is where it gets darker. Vuffi Raa, this 5-limbed, chrome-plated, starfish-looking robot. He's a Class 2 droid, human-level intelligence, emotional reactions, the works.
But he's programmed to be harmless.
Yes, an automatic pacifist. Cannot harm organic or mechanical sapiens.
Okay, so, pacifist robot. But you said it gets darker.
Yeah, because, unknown to Vuffi Raa himself, his previous master, a guy named Odefa Osuno-Wet, who was an anthropologist and a spy, used Vuffi Raa, used him as a tool.
Used him how?
To undermine the entire Renetasian civilization. It led directly to the military coming in and brutally exterminating 2/3 of the Renetasians.
Oh my god, so Vuffi Raa, the pacifist, is seen by the survivors as...
the butcher of Renetasia. He has no idea, but that's his reputation. It really makes you question accountability, doesn't it, if a tool is used for evil?
Where does the blame lie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this leads us to another character.
Directly, Klyn Shanga. He's a fleet admiral, though the source says the title's kind of a joke. He leads more like a squadron of the surviving Renetasian Confederation.
And he's looking for revenge.
Ultimate vengeance. His face is described as one scar overlaid upon another. He's hardened, fearless, and he wants Vuffi Raa for what happened to his people. It's deeply personal for him.
Okay, so we have Lando versus Gepta, Shanga versus Vuffi Raa, and then there's Gepta himself. What's his deal, besides wanting to rule the galaxy?
Rokur Gepta, the sorcerer of Tund. His home planet, Tund, it's sterile now, glows with this ghostly greenish residue because Gepta utterly obliterated every living thing on it.
Why?
Partly to preserve the secret of his power, apparently, and partly just out of sheer malice. His appearance is vague, like a blur, always in this ashy gray cloak, eyes like whirling, insatiable, merciless veracity.
Disarming.
Right. He commands this cruiser, the Wennis, an old battle wagon he's refitting to his pitiless specs. The description says he's empty, as devoid of life and warmth as his handiwork, needing endless volumes of power to fill that emptiness.
A classic power-hungry villain. So how do these vendettas connect?
Gepta and Shanga form an alliance, an unholy alliance, really. Shanga offers his rebuilt fighter squadron and information. Gepta offers Shanga passage through a Navy blockade, we'll get to that, and the chance to finally get his revenge on Vuffi Raa and Lando by association.
A marriage of convenience and hatred.
But wait, there's another layer of deception here. Guess who's also aboard Gepta's ship? The Wennis.
Don't tell me. Wet, the old master.
Bingo. Odefa Osuno-Wet. Disguised, physically altered, he's the one who actually orchestrated Renetasia's destruction using Vuffi Raa, and now he hates him. Vuffi Raa sees him as an unwelcome reminder, and he hates Lando because Lando could connect him back to the droid.
So Wet wants them both dead to cover his own tracks.
Exactly. To erase his past completely. It's just this incredibly tangled web of vengeance, self-preservation, and manipulation.
Okay, meanwhile, back with the Oswaft, the galaxy finds out about them. Because of Lahisu.
Yeah, the Navy tracked Lahisu's hyperspace trail back to the Thonboka, and they immediately saw a threat.
A threat? How?
A whole race of beings totally at home in space, capable of faster than light travel on their own. They estimated millions of fully operational starships, meaning the Oswaft themselves.
Millions of living starships.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I can see why the Navy might be nervous.
Their plan was pretty brutal, though. Starve them out, set up a blockade around the mouth of the Thonboka Nebula, cut off their food source, this nutrient haze and galactic tide of chemicals they feed on.
And once they're weak.
Finish off neatly. That was the plan.
Grim. So Lando arrives, finds out about this.
Mm-hmm.
What does he do? He can't fight the whole Navy?
No way. He knows conventional fighting is useless. So Lando, being Lando, he goes for a super risky strategy based on pure deception, his con artist skills. He actually says, our mechanical defenses are a liability, the appearance of helplessness and asset.
Use weakness as strength.
Okay.
How?
His plan is to infiltrate the blockade fleet. He poses as just some random interstellar trader.
And how does he pull that off?
It's brilliant, actually, the sabacc gambit. He goes from ship to ship in the Falcon, selling stuff, finding Lexan cigars, Asioni cigarettes, Tramistan chocolates, little luxuries for the officers.
While hiding his real cargo.
Which is recyclers full of filth, stuff the Oswaft need. Yeah, he keeps that hidden. And while he's selling cigars, he gets the officers into games of sabacc.
The card game, where the cards change value.
That's the one. High-stakes gambling. He aims for that magic 23 hand value. But here's the genius part. He strategically loses small bets.
Why lose?
To win the larger game. He builds trust, makes them think he's just a slightly unlucky traitor. He gathers information, and most importantly, he gets permission to travel to the next Navy ship, moving closer and closer to the Thonboka with each jump.
Playing the system. Did he learn anything useful?
Yeah, he found out that no one below the rank of admiral seemed to know the reason behind the stupid blockade, just following orders. Which says a lot about how these big operations work, you know. Ignorance enabling potential catastrophe.
Okay, so he gets close to the nebula entrance. How does he get past the last ship?
The grand finale of the con. He reaches the closest Navy cruiser, the Courteous, and then he orders Vuffi Raa. The power-down shields, power-down weapons make the Falcon look completely helpless. Totally. Then Vuffi Raa, following Lando's secret plan, sticks this cylinder onto the Falcon's stern. It's filled with powdered metallic shavings mixed with various volatiles, and crucially, that part of the ship is left unshielded.
I see where this is going.
Exactly. The Navy sees this helpless ship, they fire, and bam, the cylinder explodes. Not the Falcon itself, just the cylinder. But it creates this illusion the Millennium Falcon seems to have burst into an enormous blinding cloud of rapidly dispersing gases. A rain of metallic particles glittered.
They think they blew him up.
They totally buy it. Classic Lando. Using appearance as a weapon, pulling off a con on a galactic scale.
So he fakes his death, slips past the last ship, and they're inside the Thonboka.
Success. They enter the nebula, and it's huge. 12 light years across, lit by these 3 little blue-white stars inside.
And who do they meet there?
The Oswaft elders. Swanus' Gorkai Popsen for short, and Fatahen Azrov, or Faye. These guys are massive, kilometers across. Yeah, and they live in the Cave of the Elders, which is this meticulous replica of the entire Starcave Nebula, but constructed entirely out of precious gems.
Made of gems, like the ones Lahisu made.
Exactly. These elders are incredibly ancient, super conservative, total pacifists, and they really struggle initially to even grasp Lando's and Vuffi Raa's way of thinking, their motivations.
Which raises a question, right?
Yeah.
How does that deep pacifism hold up when facing, annihilation? Does it bend? Does it break?
Well, we see that tested tragically. A third elder, Boggy Huli Sahoni's Boggy, decides to try negotiation. He leads a delegation of 1,000 Oswaft out to talk to the Navy.
How does that go?
Horribly. They're murdered with energy weapons almost the moment they appeared, just cut down.
No.
But then something completely unexpected happens. In their shock and grief, their consternation, the dying Oswaft negotiators sort of shouted, using their natural radio wave communication.
Shouted at who?
At the Courteous, the same Navy ship Lando had just tricked.
And the Courteous had its shields down because they thought Lando was destroyed.
Precisely. So the Oswaft's powerful microwave communication, which wasn't meant as an attack, just a cry of anguish, inadvertently hits the unshielded cruiser and utterly destroyed it.
Wow. Accidental retaliation.
Yeah. And of course, the rest of the Navy fleet, which is shielded, sees this as a deliberate attack. So in retribution, they decide to enter the Thonboka mouth to murder them all.
So the situation escalates catastrophically. Misinterpretation, fear.
Classic spiral of conflict. And now the Navy is coming into the nebula. Lando has to think fast.
What does he propose? They can't just fight head on?
No. He suggests using the Oswaft's unique biology, again, like bluffing and sabacc, he says. He comes up with a 2-part plan.
Okay, part 1.
The illusion of death. Remember how Oswaft become opaque, visually impenetrable when they die?
Yeah, they lose that glassy transparency.
So Lando says, appear to die, concentrate heavy metals in their bodies, do a quick hyper jump, release waste. It leaves behind this sensor-detectable Oswaft-shaped outline.
The ghost image.
Exactly, a target for the Navy to shoot at. But it's not really there. The idea is to get the Navy ships to fire at these illusions and hopefully hit each other. Friendly fire.
Clever. And part 2.
Direct microwave attacks. It turns out the Oswaft, especially in large numbers, can destroy shielded ships using simple microwaves at incredible power levels. It's consistent with the energy needed for their biological FTL travel.
So use illusions to cause chaos and focused microwave beams to take out ships?
That's the plan. And the Oswaft, especially after Boggy and the delegation were murdered and seeing Lando's willingness to act, they're shamed into action. 1 million Oswaft agree to fight.
1 million living starships going into battle.
It's epic. Some engage the fleet directly, others hide in the nebula walls. They create those threatening images, the illusions, darting in and out.
And does it work? Does the Navy fall for it?
Totally. The Navy ships start firing wildly at the illusions, at sensor ghosts, and they start hitting each other. They try to adjust fire, but they keep hitting their own vessels. Their numbers get decimated.
It's brilliant. Using the enemy's own aggression, their own targeting systems against them. Intelligence over brute force.
Absolutely. A powerful example of asymmetric warfare using unique biological abilities.
But while all this chaos is happening inside the nebula, something else is coming, right? Something big.
Oh, yeah. Simultaneously, these entities known only as the One, the Other, and the Rest are blazing through hyperspace towards Thonboka at unbelievable speeds.
Who or what are they?
Get this. They are ancient, incredibly long-lived droids, but they're also intergalactically self-propelled starships. Huge ones. 50 kilometers in diameter each.
50 kilometers.
Yeah.
Living droid starships.
Essentially, their ancestors were intelligent machines, and they're the ones who created Vuffi Raa's entire lineage.
Wait, Vuffi Raa wasn't just some mass-produced droid. He's connected to these cosmic entities.
He's part of their grand experiment. They created his line as experimental subjects. Why? To reintroduce an element of the unknown into their own ancient, hyper-complex culture, to learn new things.
They were afraid of boredom, stagnation.
Exactly, dying of boredom, essentially. So they created droids, like Vuffi Raa, suppressed their memories, conditioned them not to be violent, all to ensure they'd gather fresh, unbiased impressions of the universe for their creators. They basically engineered curiosity collectors.
That's a mind-bending purpose for creating life, or near life.
But then something even more profound happens among these ancient machines. The Other voices this disturbing new thought to the One.
Which is?
That the One has a parental responsibility towards Vuffi Raa. He says basically, you brought it into existence, you sent it out there, you can't just blandly let it be destroyed.
Parental responsibility.
Yeah?
For a droid experiment.
Yeah. The One struggles with this feeling, calls it an unsubstantial sensation, but then accepts it, declares, congratulate me, I am a father, and by all means, let us hurry lest we be too late.
Wow. Ancient logical machines developing. Fatherly concern. That challenges everything about defining intelligence, life, emotion.
It really does. If beings made for logic can feel that, what does it say about consciousness?
So they decide to intervene. How do they arrive?
Impressively, these huge ovoid ships just appear, easily penetrating the nebula wall. They broadcast this universal message: ceasefire immediately or be destroyed. There will be no other way.
Does the Navy listen?
One cruiser, the Recalcitrant, doesn't. It fires on one of the newcomer ships.
Bad move.
Very bad move. The big ship instantly retaliates, vaporizes the Recalcitrant. Poof, gone. That demonstrates their power, and yeah, the Navy stops attacking the Oswaft immediately.
A demonstration of overwhelming force ends the immediate battle. Like there are always bigger fish. Or bigger ancient droid starships.
Exactly, a stark reminder.
Okay, so the Navy is stocked, the ancient droids are here, but Gepta's still around, isn't he?
He is. Rokur Gepta arrives in his refitted battle wagon, the Venice. He actually halts the general conflict, but then he issues a personal challenge.
To who? Lando.
To Lando Calrissian, a personal duel to the death.
What are the stakes?
Chillingly high. If Lando wins, Gepta promises the entire remaining fleet will leave peacefully, but if Gepta wins, he'll release 1,000 tons of this horrific destructive agent.
How bad is it?
Even in a tiny demonstration like minus 17th power, tiny, it wiped out a cluster of Oswaft, turned them into this sickly green glowing vapor. Gepta claims even minuscule amounts can eradicate anything that lived and sterilize the entire nebula.
So Lando has to fight, or the Oswaft and the nebula are doomed.
He accepts. Vuffi Raa acts as his second. And Vuffi Raa reveals a crucial bit of info just before the duel.
What's that?
Wet, his old master, who's secretly allied with Gepta, still thinks Vuffi Raa is bound by his pacifist programming. Wet doesn't know Vuffi Raa can now perform defensive violence.
Ah, a hidden advantage, so the duel starts.
Yep. Lando with his sting beam pistol against Gepta's energy blasts, and Vuffi Raa, using his newfound flexibility, actually detaches his own tentacles to attack Gepta.
Detaches his tentacles? Whoa! But the duel gets interrupted, right, by Shanga?
Yes. Klyn Shanga, the Renatasian admiral seeking vengeance on Vuffi Raa, he's watching the duel, and suddenly he has this blinding flash of recognition.
What does he recognize?
He hears Otdefa Osuna Wet's voice, somehow separate from his disguise, and Shanga realizes Wet is the real butcher of Renatasia, not Vuffi Raa.
The truth comes out. What does Shanga do?
He diverts his entire remaining squadron, not at Gepta, not at Lando. He rams Wet's command pinnace directly into Gepta's flagship, the Venice.
He sacrifices himself and his squadron for revenge on the real culprit.
Exactly. It causes this titanic explosion. Both ships, Wet, Gepta's crew, all consumed.
Wow. But what about Gepta himself? He was dueling Lando outside the ship.
The explosion distracts Gepta for just a second. Lando fires wildly, hits him, and Gepta's form just withers.
It just fades.
His true form. He wasn't some powerful sorcerer, he was a croak. This small bundle of ugly, slimy tissue resembling a half-cooked snail. They're a nasty species known for camouflage and illusion.
So the fearsome sorcerer was just a slimy slug in disguise.
Pretty much. Landy just crushes it under his heel. Shows you how much power can be built on pure illusion.
Incredible. But wait, what about Vuffi Raa? Wasn't there a last shot?
Ah, yes. In his dying moments, Gepta's hand reflexively fires one last blast. And it hits Vuffi Raa right in the torso. His red eye dims, goes flat, glassy, and black.
Oh no, so Vuffi Raa.
It certainly looks that way. A really shocking end to the climax.
Okay, so Gepta's gone, Wet's gone, Shanga made his sacrifice. What happens with the Navy and the Oswaft now?
Well, even with the one and the other there, the Navy actually opens fire again briefly on the Oswaft. Unbelievable, right?
Seriously, after everything.
Yeah, but then Klyn Shanga's surviving squadron fighters, the ones who didn't ram the menace they provide, covering fire for the Oswaft, they sacrifice themselves to save Oswaft lives. A final act of, well, maybe redemption, or just recognizing the true enemy.
Wow, that's unexpected.
The one, the other, and the rest make their presence definitively known, and that finally stops all conflict for good. Their power is just too overwhelming.
So peace finally breaks out. What's the scene in the aftermath?
It's kind of surreal. We find Lando, recovered from his injuries, and Shanga, who survived the crash, injured but alive playing sabacc.
Playing sabacc?
With who? In the Millennium Falcon's lounge, with the one, the other, and more of their species who are manifesting these small extensors to play. And the Oswaft elders are participating too, somehow seeing the cards via TV signals.
That sounds like the weirdest sabacc game ever.
Lando calls it the weirdest and most profitable game of his life. It seems to be a way for these ancient machine beings to learn, to gather data through the game.
Learning through gambling. Okay, so this bizarre, peaceful resolution emerges from all that chaos. It really shows how understanding can bridge huge gaps.
Definitely. So where do our main characters end up after all this? What about Lahisu, the curious Oswaft who started it all?
He's okay, and he decides not to become an elder. Says he learned from Lando not to give or receive orders. He just wants to keep exploring, discovering answers, and probably get in trouble again.
Sounds about right for him. And Lando, the eternal gambler.
Well, he realizes he's way ahead in the sabacc game, like 18 trillion credits ahead. Plus, the Falcon's holds are now full of gigantic gemstones gifted by the grateful Oswaft elders.
So he's rich beyond his wildest dreams.
Yep, and it makes him think. He actually contemplates giving up the wandering life, being responsible, owning something, having obligations. He's planning to buy an entire city.
Lando settling down, buying a city, that's a twist.
It really is. But what about Vuffi Raa? Did he survive?
He did. He gets repaired by the One. And the One reveals something huge to Vuffi Raa, that Vuffi Raa is his only son, and that despite the damage, his memory, experiences, and character were all intact. He wasn't wiped.
His only son. So Vuffi Raa finds out who he really is.
Exactly. He knows exactly who and what you are, as the text says, and significantly, he finally stops calling Lando Master.
A sign of true independence. Does he stay with Lando?
No. His mission, the one he was built for, continues. He leaves the Falcon to transmit all his accumulated experiences, all his knowledge, back to his people. The one, the other, the rest. Fulfilling his purpose.
Getting like that.
He expresses a desire to continue exploring later, so it feels like an evolution, you know? Beyond his original programming, becoming his own being, but still connected to his creators.
So wrapping this all up, what does it all mean? We've journeyed through this incredible story, creatures breathing vacuum, ancient machines learning fatherhood, bluffs, and card games as weapons.
Yeah, I mean, this deep dive really shows how incredibly interconnected things can be in this galaxy, how motivations can shift dramatically, how even beings programmed for one thing can evolve in totally unexpected ways.
It's a huge testament to adaptation and just the sheer variety of what intelligence can look like.
Absolutely.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. What does it truly mean to be intelligent or alive when you find profound wisdom coming from living starships? Or maybe even a creature that literally feeds on garbage? And if curiosity, like Alhisu's, can lead you to both the brink of death and untold riches? What's your next bold exploration going to be?